Glucose Revolution by Jessie InchauspA Ï. Introduction. 19 years old. On vacation in Hawaii with friends. Imagine the scene: the warm sun, the dense green of the jungle, and the sound of a waterfall crashing into a pool of cool water below. It's the kind of moment that feels like it will last forever. For a young Jessie InchauspA, it was a moment of adventure, a dare among friends to leap from the top of that waterfall. Her friends gave her simple advice: keep your legs straight, so you land feet first. But in that split second between the cliff's edge and the open air, terror took over. She forgot the advice. Instead of slicing neatly into the water, she landed hard, seated. A shockwave shot up her spine like a row of dominoes. Shack, 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 all the way up to her second thoracic vertebra, which exploded into 14 pieces. Her life, as she knew it, exploded too. For 2 weeks, she lay immobilized in a hospital bed, facing a terrifying surgery that involved opening her torso, removing bone fragments from her spinal cord, and drilling 6 3-inch metal rods into her spine. The risks were paralyzing: lung perforation, paralysis, even death. She survived. But the trauma wasn't just physical. In the years that followed, she suffered from a strange and frightening mental condition called depersonalization, where she felt like a stranger in her own body. Her hands didn't feel like her own. Her reflection was that of a stranger. A constant brain fog clouded her mind. This accident ignited in her a deep, profound conviction: nothing matters more than being healthy, physically and mentally. It set her on a quest to understand her own body, a quest that led her to biochemistry and eventually to a health tech startup in Silicon Valley. And that is where she stumbled upon a secret. A secret not just about her own health, but about the health of nearly every person on this planet. She discovered a single, simple metric that controls our cravings, our energy, our mood, our weight, our skin, our sleep, and even how fast we age. A metric that 88% of us have out of balance without even knowing it. Today, we're diving into her groundbreaking book, Glucose Revolution. And I promise you, by the end of our time together, you'll understand a hidden language your body is speaking to you every single second. You'll learn how to stop the invisible battles happening inside you and finally take control of your health, not by dieting or depriving yourself, but by understanding the simple, elegant power of balancing your blood sugar. Book summary. Let's begin with a simple question. How are you feeling right now? Are you full of energy, clear-headed, and vibrant? Or are you feeling a little tired? Maybe you're already thinking about your next snack, or fighting that familiar mid-afternoon slump. Most of us feel like we're just passengers in our own bodies. Jessie InchauspA uses a brilliant analogy. It's like we're sitting in the cockpit of a complex airplane, surrounded by flashing lights, dials, and levers, with no idea how to fly it. We just hope it stays in the air. We suffer from cravings, pimples, mood swings, weight gain, brain fog, and poor sleep, and we just assume this is normal. We're told to just eat less and move more, or that a calorie is a calorie, but these messages are often misleading, funded by billion-dollar marketing campaigns that don't have our best interests at heart. But what if I told you there's one master lever in that cockpit, one lever that, if you learn how to control it, brings almost everything else into balance? That lever is glucose. Now, the word glucose might make you think of diabetes, but that's like thinking water is only for people who are thirsty. Glucose affects every single one of us. It's our body's main source of energy. Every cell in your body, from your brain firing neurons to your heart beating, runs on it. To understand where it comes from, we have to go back to the very beginning, to a time when our planet was just rock and water. Jessie tells a wonderful little story about the first plant. Let's call him Jerry. Jerry was a pioneer. He figured out how to do something miraculous. He learned to take carbon dioxide from the air, water from the ground, and energy from the sun, and combine them to create a brand new substance. That substance was glucose. This process, called photosynthesis, is the foundation of almost all life on Earth. Plants use glucose as both fuel and building blocks. They link thousands of glucose molecules together into long chains to build their structures. When the chain is built one way, it becomes strong and is called starch, found in things like potatoes and rice. When it's built another way, it becomes tough and is called fiber, the stuff that makes celery crunchy and leaves sturdy. And then plants do something clever. They create another type of sugar, one that's extra sweet, called fructose. They concentrate this fructose in their fruit to make it irresistible to animals. Why? So animals will eat the fruit, wander off, and, well, poop out the seeds somewhere new, helping the plant reproduce. Starch, fiber, and sugars like glucose and fructose, they're all part of the same family, a family we call carbohydrates, or carbs for short. Now, here's the problem. We humans can't photosynthesize. We can't make our own food from sunlight. So, we have to eat it. When we eat starchy foods like bread or pasta, our body uses enzymes to break those long starch chains back down into individual glucose molecules. Jessie shares a simple experiment from her childhood. If you chew a piece of plain white bread for a full minute without swallowing, it starts to taste sweet. That's the starch turning back into glucose right in your mouth. For thousands of years, this system worked perfectly. Our Stone Age ancestors got their glucose from whole plants. Wherever they found starch and sugar, it was always packaged with its sibling, fiber. Fiber acts like a protective older sister. It slows down our body's absorption of glucose, preventing it from flooding our system all at once. But today, we live in a different world. We figured out how to strip away the fiber to make foods last longer on shelves. We've taken nature's sweetness and concentrated it to an extreme. We bred bananas to have more sugar and less fiber, turning them from seedy, tough fruits into the sweet, soft ones we know today. We learned to boil sugarcane to create pure table sugar. Our brains are hardwired from ancient times to love sweetness. It signals energy and safety. But our modern food environment has hijacked that ancient instinct. We've gone from eating small amounts of fibrous fruit to consuming, on average, over 90 pounds of concentrated sugar per person, per year. This massive, fiberless flood of glucose into our bodies is creating a problem. A problem called a glucose spike. A glucose spike is a rapid increase in your blood sugar after you eat, followed by a rapid crash. Imagine it like a roller coaster. You eat a slice of cake or drink a glass of orange juice. The sugar hits your system fast, and your glucose levels shoot up. But what goes up must come down. Just as quickly, your levels crash, leaving you tired, foggy, and craving more sugar. Jessie's research reveals that these spikes, happening day after day, are quietly damaging our bodies in three major ways. She gives us three unforgettable analogies to understand this. First is oxidative stress, which she calls the train stops. Imagine your cell's powerhouses, the mitochondria, as your grandfather who's taken a retirement job shoveling coal into a steam train's furnace. When you eat a steady meal, coal is delivered at a manageable pace. He shovels it in. The train runs smoothly. But a glucose spike is like a relentless, massive delivery of coal, piling up all at once. Your grandfather gets overwhelmed. He can't shovel it fast enough. The coal piles up, he can't move, the furnace dies down, and the train grinds to a halt. When your mitochondria are flooded with too much glucose, they get stressed and release damaging molecules called free radicals. This process, oxidative stress, damages our cells, mutates our DNA, and accelerates aging. It's why, even though you just ate, you feel completely drained of energy. The train has stopped. The second process is glycation, or as Jessie puts it, you are toasting. From the moment we are born, our insides are very, very slowly browning, just like a piece of bread in a toaster. This happens when a stray glucose molecule bumps into another molecule in your body, like a protein or a fat, and damages it. This process is called glycation, and it's a natural part of aging. You can't untoast toast, and you can't unglycate a molecule. But glucose spikes are like turning the dial on the toaster all the way up. More spikes mean more glycation, which means faster aging. It's what causes wrinkles, cataracts, and the slow deterioration of our organs. And here's a scary fact. Fructose, the sugar concentrated in sweet foods, causes glycation 10 times faster than glucose. The third process is fat gain, which she describes as playing Tetris. When a flood of glucose hits your bloodstream, your body panics. It needs to clear that excess sugar out as fast as possible to minimize the damage from oxidative stress and glycation. So, your pancreas releases a hormone called insulin. Insulin is the Tetris player. Its job is to grab the falling glucose blocks and stash them away. First, insulin stores glucose in your liver and muscles, where it's kept as a reserve fuel called glycogen. But these storage units are small, they can only hold so much. Once they're full, where does the rest of the glucose go? Insulin directs it to our unlimited storage unit, our fat cells. Every time you have a big glucose spike, you are telling your body to store fat. And it gets worse. While glucose can be stored in muscles, fructose has only one fate when it arrives in excess. It is turned directly into fat, particularly in and around the liver. This is why two foods with the same number of calories can have drastically different effects. A sweet food spike is far more damaging than a starchy one, because it comes with that hidden, fat-creating fructose spike. Even more critically, when insulin levels are high, your body is in storage mode. It physically cannot be in fat-burning mode at the same time. High insulin locks your fat cells, preventing fat from being released and used for energy. So, if you're snacking all day and spiking your glucose, you're constantly raising your insulin, and you're essentially telling your body never to burn fat. This all sounds pretty bleak, doesn't it? But this is where the revolution begins. The beauty of Jessie's work is that the solutions are not about deprivation. They're not about going on a strict diet or never eating dessert again. They are simple, science-backed hacks that work with your body's biology to flatten those damaging glucose curves. Let's start with one of the most surprising and powerful hacks. Eat your food in the right order. Imagine a study where two groups of people eat the exact same meal, say, chicken, broccoli, and pasta. Same foods, same calories. The only difference is the order in which they eat them. The first group eats the pasta first, then the chicken and broccoli. The second group eats the broccoli and chicken first, and saves the pasta for last. The result? The group that ate the carbs last reduced their glucose spike by a staggering 73%. The effect was comparable to taking diabetes medication. How is this possible? Jessie explains it with another great analogy. Your stomach is a sink, and your small intestine is the pipe below it. When you eat carbs first, they go straight into the sink, rush down the pipe, and are quickly absorbed as glucose, causing a huge spike. But when you eat fiber first, the vegetables, something magical happens. The fiber gets to the small intestine and creates a thick, viscous mesh. This mesh slows down how quickly any starches and sugars you eat afterward can be absorbed. So, the right order is always fiber first, protein and fat second, and starches and sugars last. This single change, eating your salad before your bread, can transform your health. Just ask Bernadette, a woman from the glucose goddess community who lost 5 pounds in 9 days just by deconstructing her sandwiches and eating the bread last. This leads us to the next hack. Add a green starter to all your meals. This isn't just about eating the veggies on your plate first, it's about adding a course of vegetables at the beginning of your meal. We strip so much fiber out of our modern diet, this hack is about putting it back in. A simple side salad, some roasted broccoli, or even a few carrots with hummus before your main course provides that protective fiber mesh and dramatically flattens the curve of whatever follows. This brings us to a crucial point that defies everything we've been taught about weight loss. Stop counting calories. A calorie is simply a unit of heat. Scientists measure it by literally burning food and seeing how much it heats up water. It tells you nothing about how that food will affect your hormones. 150 calories from a donut and 150 calories from Greek yogurt are not the same. The donut, full of glucose and fructose, will spike your insulin, promote fat storage, and leave you hungry again in an hour. The yogurt, with its protein and fat, will keep you stable and full. In fact, studies show that people who focus on flattening their glucose curves can eat more calories and lose more weight than people who restrict calories but ignore their blood sugar. This is because by keeping insulin low, they allow their body to enter fat-burning mode. This is why adding a 200-calorie salad to your meal is a good addition, while adding a 200-calorie soda is a bad one. One helps you, the other harms you. Now, let's talk about the most important meal of the day. The saying is true, but not for the reason you think. Flatten your breakfast curve. Your first meal sets the glucose tone for the entire day. If you start with a typical sweet breakfast, cereal, toast with jam, fruit juice, or even a healthy fruit smoothie, you are starting a glucose roller coaster that you'll be riding all day long. That big morning spike leads to a crash, which triggers cravings, which leads to another spike, and so on. Jessie tells the story of Olivia, who, trying to be healthier, switched from toast and jam to a big fruit smoothie for breakfast. She thought she was doing the right thing. After all, it's good sugar from fruit, right? But her symptoms got worse. Why? Because blending fruit pulverizes the fiber, turning it into a main line of fructose and glucose that hits your system just as hard as a can of soda. The solution is simple. Go savory for breakfast. Build your morning meal around protein, fat, and fiber. Think eggs, avocado, full-fat yogurt, nuts, or leftovers from dinner. This one change is so powerful that it makes your body more resilient to glucose spikes later in the day. Of course, we all love sweet things. Jessie's next hacks are about how to enjoy them smartly. First, understand that all sugars are basically the same. Honey, agave syrup, coconut sugar, your body breaks them all down into glucose and fructose. Don't be fooled by marketing that calls one healthier than another. If you're going for a sweet fix, the best choice is always whole fruit, because it comes with fiber. And the best time to eat anything sweet is as dessert, not as a snack. Eating a cookie on an empty stomach is like throwing a grenade into your system. It causes a massive spike. But eating that same cookie after a balanced meal that contained fiber, protein, and fat is like gently placing it into a cushioned box. The other food acts as clothes for the naked carbs, slowing everything down and dramatically reducing the spike. But what about those times when you can't help it? You're at a party, and the cake is calling your name. Here comes the dynamic duo of hacks. First, reach for vinegar before you eat. This sounds strange, but the science is incredible. A tablespoon of vinegar any kind, like apple cider vinegar in a tall glass of water a few minutes before eating can reduce the glucose spike of that meal by up to 30%. The acetic acid in vinegar works in two ways. It temporarily slows down the enzyme that breaks down starches, and it helps your muscles absorb glucose more quickly. And the second part of the duo, after you eat, move. Your muscles are like sponges for glucose. When they're working, they soak up glucose from your bloodstream for energy. You don't need to run a marathon. Just a 10 to 20-minute walk, doing some squats while watching TV, or even cleaning the kitchen within an hour after eating will put that glucose to work instead of letting it spike and get stored as fat. The combo is your secret weapon: vinegar before a treat, and movement after. Finally, a simple rule for all carbs: put some clothes on them. Never eat a carbohydrate naked. A plain rice cake, a slice of bread, a piece of fruit, by themselves, they will spike your glucose. But add some clothes, fat, protein, or fiber, and you transform their impact. Put peanut butter on that rice cake. Add avocado to that toast. Eat a handful of nuts with that apple. This simple principle helps you stay full longer, avoids cravings, and even helps regulate your mood. Jessie shares the powerful story of Lucy, a young athlete with type 1 diabetes, who was often angry and irritable. When she learned to dress her carbs and manage her glucose spikes, her mood stabilized, and she felt she could finally be the person she wants to be. And that, in essence, is the revolution. It's not about fighting your body. It's about understanding it. It's about making small, simple changes that have a profound impact, allowing you to still eat what you love while getting your energy back, stopping cravings, and transforming your health from the inside out. Commentary. When you finish a book like Glucose Revolution, you realize something profound. For years, so many of us have been playing a game without knowing the rules. We've been blaming ourselves, our lack of willpower, our genetics, our busy schedules, for why we feel tired, why we can't lose weight, or why we crave sugar. But Jessie InchauspA hands us the rulebook. And it turns out, the rules are surprisingly simple and incredibly empowering. The most powerful lesson in this book isn't a single hack, it's the shift in perspective. It moves us away from a world of restriction and dieting, which is so often rooted in guilt, and into a world of knowledge and empowerment. The message isn't "don't eat the cake," it's "you're going to eat the cake, here's how to do it in a way that honors your body." That is a fundamentally kind and sustainable approach to health. What I find most beautiful about this work is how it reconnects us to our own biology. Jessie's journey began with a traumatic accident that made her feel disconnected from her own body. Her discovery of glucose was, in a way, her journey back to herself. It was about learning to listen to the signals her body was sending. By sharing these principles, she gives us the tools to do the same. We don't all need a continuous glucose monitor, because she has done the work for us. She has decoded the language. A craving isn't a moral failure, it's often the biological echo of a glucose crash. That mid-afternoon slump isn't laziness, it's the predictable result of a spiky lunch. This knowledge is freedom. It's freedom from the guilt of craving a cookie. It's freedom from the frustration of a diet that isn't working. And it's freedom from the helplessness of feeling like your health is out of your control. If this conversation has sparked something in you, I want to give you a few simple ways to start your own glucose revolution right now. Don't try to do everything at once. Just pick one. First, for your very next meal, just change the order. If there are vegetables on your plate, eat them first. Before the potatoes, before the rice, before the bread. Just try it and see how you feel a couple of hours later. Second, if you're going to have a sweet snack or a starchy treat today, make a conscious choice to move your body for just 10 minutes right after. Go for a brisk walk around the block. Put on your favorite song and dance in your living room. Notice the difference in your energy levels. And third, tomorrow morning, try a savory breakfast. Swap the cereal or sweet pastry for a couple of eggs. Swap the fruit juice for a glass of water. Pay close attention to your hunger and cravings before lunch. That one change can be the start of a whole new relationship with food and energy. That was a summary of Glucose Revolution by Jessie InchauspA. We've touched on the big ideas today, but a summary is like looking at a map of a beautiful country. The real adventure, the real discovery, happens when you decide to travel there yourself. The book is filled with dozens more stories, graphs, and nuances that we just couldn't cover. If you feel that pull of curiosity, that sense that this information could be a turning point for you, I wholeheartedly encourage you to pick up a copy. Reading it isn't just about gaining knowledge, it's about starting a new conversation with your own body, one that could genuinely change your life for the better. You can find a link to the book in the description below. Also, if you found this summary valuable, please show some support by hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. It lets us know we're on the right track and ensures you won't miss our next deep dive into another life-changing book. Let's keep learning and growing together.